Thank y'all. Well, it's wonderful to be here. It does feel like such a warm and welcoming group of people. I have been speaking about Enron for the last 15 years, and I've attended a number of conferences that are CEO leadership conferences. I learned a new move where usually journalists like to speak to me, professors like to speak to me, but CEOs just go running. And so the move I learned, here I'll use you as a guinea pig, they'll say, "Hi Sherron, I'm so happy you're here at this conference." You know, this body language of just shoving me along. I went through what typical whistleblowers go through: the isolation, the removal of your job responsibilities, the pariah treatment where friends just don't want to be in the same room with you. But Enron imploded too fast to make my life totally miserable. But the one thing that I want to note is that as I speak across the globe, I'm almost always approached at the end of my talk by someone who has been a whistleblower, and their lives have been destroyed because they were isolated, they were made, really their reputations were damaged. Enron tried to do that to me. They hired people as notable as William Bennett to speak on the company's behalf, and he was out telling reporters, "Yeah, Sherron Watkins, she's no kook." Well, that's sort of like introducing someone by saying they're not an axe murderer. I mean, why did he mention something negative like that in the first place? There's subtle ways to denigrate people, and there's very, direct ways to denigrate people. The isolation is just momentous when you've spoken truth to power. I naively thought facts were going to rule out, and I gave a lot of facts to Ken Lay, Enron's CEO, and I thought he would investigate. I never thought he was going to shoot the messenger or try to fire me. When I testified in front of Congress and they showed me that V&E memo, that 2 days after I met with him, he was getting this report from V&E about the potential consequences to discharging employees who raise accounting concerns, I was really shocked. I had thought more of him, but it goes to show you that whistleblowers really are just trying to right the ship, and I naively thought he was the right leader. But the point I wanted to make about today, that I applaud so much, is the fact that Dodd-Frank gives a 10 to 30% bounty provision for people who bring financial fraud to the SEC. That has attracted, now Steve Cohen and the National Whistleblower Center, they've been at this when money was just non-existent. The Government Accountability Project, they've been at this when money's non-existent. But now there are about 12 or 15 other law firms that have opened practices to advocate and support the whistleblower. And from my own personal experience, when I finally got the right lawyer, I didn't even think I'd done anything wrong or need a lawyer. I'm just delivering truth to power. You've got to have a lawyer. It is such a mean, nasty world out there, and you've got to have the power balance move in your favor just a little bit. And so Dodd-Frank is bringing more lawyers to the cause of the whistleblower to help alleviate that isolation. But today I want to applaud those that have been there prior to Dodd-Frank. And Steve Cohen and his National Whistleblower Center and the Government Accountability Project should be applauded for all their hard work for the case of the whistleblower. I do want to Thank you. But as many have said today, whistleblowers are the last line of defense. You hear a lot of politicians talking about our great democracy and the freedom we have in our elections, but what is so magical about what our founding fathers did is that they realized that power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So they put in the checks and balances, this executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch, to form these checks and balances to keep no single one from being all powerful. When in my life, in corporate America, we've got public accounting firms, we've got the SEC, we've got the FBI looking at white-collar crime. Those are the professional watchdogs. But when they fail to catch wrongdoing, the last resort is the whistleblower. And quite often, people are like me, where you're blowing the whistle internally. So the Supreme Court, as I mentioned, they're going to be looking at protections for people who blow the whistle internally. All that's happened with Sarbanes-Oxley and Dodd-Frank, I just applaud. All these whistleblowers that have been talked to today, that their cases have now set the precedent to give protections to other whistleblowers. All that is so important. You don't blow the whistle because of monetary rewards. You don't blow the whistle because of protections. You blow the whistle because you're optimistic that the person you're speaking truth to power to is going to listen and right the ship. But heaven forbid they don't listen, and heaven forbid they try to shoot the messenger. I am very, very thankful for the efforts that exist today to be the last resort protection for that truth teller. So I will end my remarks on that. I'm so happy to be here and happy to see so many people who care for the causes of the whistleblower. Thank you very much.